In this video, we are going to take a look at data sufficiency questions. A data sufficiency question asks you to find out if you have enough data to get to the answer, and you don't necessarily have to find out what the answer is. Now, if you are not familiar with the data sufficiency question and it is somewhat unique to GMAT, then it will take some getting used to. It is important to get used to data sufficiency questions because as a manager, you will often be required to make data-driven decisions. These days, there is an overabundance of data. However, you may not have all the data that is needed in order to get to the solution. Therefore, rather than jumping down a rabbit hole and trying to figure out a number that you don't have the data for, you need to have a data sense. Now, in this question, I want you to focus on the 5 different solutions that you have. Note that the 5 different options are going to be the same for all the data sufficiency questions. So if you become familiar with them right now, you won't be spending a lot of time on them during the actual GMAT test. Let's go through the options one by one. The first one is statement 1 alone is sufficient. Now, in a data sufficiency question, you will be given a question which will be followed by 2 statements. You have to figure out if you can get to the question that is asked, which here is how many students are freshmen, with either statement 1 alone, statement 2 alone, and statement 1 and 2 together, but not either of them alone, or statement 1 and 2 each on its own is sufficient to answer the question. Finally, if the statements together are not sufficient to get to the answer, that is, you can't get to the solution that is asked for. Let's try solving this question. I would recommend that you pause the video and take a crack at it. I'm going to solve the question now. Here we can assume, first let's go through the question once. In a class of 90 students with just freshmen and seniors, how many of the students are freshmen? And then we have 2 statements. Let's assume that the number of freshmen is F, number of seniors is S. Given that the class has 90 students, we can say that the question says F plus S is equal to 90. Now, the statement 1 says the number of seniors is 50. It is quite obvious that by substituting the value of S in this equation, we can get the value of F. However, we don't actually need to find out what the value of F is. Statement 1 alone is sufficient to get to the answer. The second statement says the number of seniors S is greater than 12. The numbers that S can take could be 13, 14, 15, 16, so on till 89. If you are trying to get to the solution, you need to get one number. Since you are getting an entire set of numbers, 2 alone is not sufficient to get to the solution. Now let's see what our actual solution will be. Statement A says, option A says statement 1 alone is sufficient, but statement 2 alone is not sufficient, which is what the case is. Therefore, we can select A. This is the solution. You can pause the video and take a look at it. Moving on to another question, you can again pause the video and take a crack at it yourself. I'll be solving the equation now. We need to find out what the value of 1 by 1 plus x square here is. What is the value of x square plus 1 by x square? The statement 1 says x plus 1 by x is equal to 2. Let's square this. We get x square plus 1 by x square plus twice into x into 1 by x is equal to 4, which we get by squaring both these sides. It's okay if you can't follow the equation, so the maths right now. We are just trying to get a sense of data sufficiency options for now. The quadratic equations will be covered in a separate chapter. Now here we cancel x and x. It's pretty obvious, it's pretty easy to see that we can get the value of x square plus 1 by x square from here. Therefore we don't actually need to solve any further. We can say that 1 alone is sufficient. Let's move on to statement 2. Expanding equation 2, we get x minus 1 into x plus 1 is equal to 0. Therefore x could be 1 or minus 1. Now it would be tempting to say that we can't get to the actual solution because we are getting two different numbers. However, let's solve this a little bit further. The question is asking what is the value of x square plus 1 by x square. Let's substitute the values of x. We get 1 square plus 1 by 1 square, which is equal to 1 plus 1, that is 2. Now let's substitute minus 1. We get minus 1 square plus 1 by minus 1 square, which is equal to 1 plus 1, giving us 2. Here we are getting the same value of x square plus 1 by x square for the two values of x. Therefore we can say that x square plus 1 by x square is equal to 2. Therefore 2 alone is sufficient as well. Now let's go through the different options. Statement 1 alone is sufficient, true, but statement 2 alone is not sufficient. We do not meet this criteria, so we'll eliminate it. Statement 1 alone is sufficient, true, but statement 1 alone is not sufficient. That's not true. We know that statement 1 can solve the equation. We eliminate that as well. Both statements together are sufficient, but neither statement alone is sufficient. Not true. Each statement alone is sufficient, which is what the option D is. Therefore we select the option D.